So, thanks for doing this today, Bruce.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So you're a recent expat, and we want to give information to expats coming down here. So, first of all, let's start off by telling you a bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Seattle, Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Born in Bend, Oregon. I lived many years in Portland, Oregon as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I also did a stint in Czech Republic. I lived in Prague for 4 years. And during that time, I was a photographer for several magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a studio both in Portland and Seattle before I came here. And now I take photos of dogs.
So it sounds like you're pretty well traveled.
Yes.
Well, so you've seen a lot of places in the world.
I have.
And how does this one rank?
My first time in Mexico was around 6 or 7 years ago when I first went to Oaxaca with some friends who are involved in the mezcal trade. And we visited lots of small villages in Oaxaca state. And I met a lot of indigenous people and people from southern Mexico. And I fell in love.
That's a common story. The people come down here and they fall in love with the place right away. How long have you been down here now?
So I bought my house 2 years ago, and I've been here full time for almost a year. It's been maybe a couple days shy of a year full time. I just came from the immigration office yesterday and got my 3 more years for my immigration as temporal.
Right.
And I paid my property taxes, my water,
Mm-hmm.
and my car registration.
Mm-hmm. And how much are your property taxes?
Under $200.
And water?
Water was about $200 as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So $400, and that's for the year.
That's for the entire year.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible.
And my house is worth probably close to $300,000 with the improvements I've made. And if this was in Seattle, Washington, my property tax would be over $10,000.
I believe it. We're paying well over $5 in Canada too. So.
Yeah.
Do you miss home at all?
I do. I miss my friends. We talk every day through the internet or through the phone. And I have 2 children in the United States, and I miss them. And but I don't necessarily miss Seattle per se. So this is a new adventure for me, and I'm taking it head on, and I'm enjoying it.
Great. Was it easy to meet locals?
It has been, except for the COVID-19.
Yeah, it's shaken everything up this past year, hasn't it?
But the people are really easy here to, especially Mexicans, even though I don't speak Spanish very well. Mexican people are very hospitable and very open. And I have several Mexican friends who I enjoy very much. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Excellent. So we spoke a little bit about cost of living. What would you say your cost of living is here compared to Seattle?
It's at least 50% less. In some aspects, it's even more than that. You can live here very inexpensively if you want to. I don't necessarily need to, but if you are on a really tight budget, like some people are, you can survive here and have a good life.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about your experiences with government paperwork and immigration and all that stuff, all that bureaucracy that goes along with moving to Mexico.
Well, you have to do research, and fortunately, I know enough people here in Mexico that if I need help with something, I can easily find it. So my immigration, I did through my lawyer, and it was very simple. Mm-hmm. And she took care of everything. I just met somebody down in the immigration office, and they did all the paperwork for me. My car registration and everything with my car is done through a broker. Mm-hmm. And SNS, and they take very good care of me. I had my property tax and my water paid through concierge service, mm-hmm. so I didn't have to wait in line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did the same thing this year. For 200 pesos, we had our property tax paid, our car taxes paid, and our water bill paid. And I mean, it couldn't be easier. You don't have to run out there and wait in line, as you say.
No,
and spend all that time.
You just have to know the right people and the right resources, and really the bureaucracy is a moot point for the most part. I'll give you a little story though. I did a home improvement in my house. It was the city street. Had a big dip in it in front of my garage. So I fixed it myself. I didn't need a permit or anything. I just hired guys and we fixed the cobblestone and put cement down. And you can just go for it and do things. That's what I love about Mexico.
Sounds like you understand the way Mexico works, and
for the most part,
you're integrating in with it.
For the most part, I'm not afraid to take on responsibilities for projects and so forth. So,
have you had any experience with the healthcare system here yet?
I have. So, the first healthcare experience I had was through a dentist. I just got some basic cleaning and some basic work done, and it was fantastic. My dentist.
Cost of the cleaning, do you remember?
It's 80% less than the United States,
Interesting.
and as good, if not better. It's very first class. I hurt my tendon in my knee and went to the emergency hospital, which is only a quarter mile away. And they gave me a cortisone shot and some muscle relaxers. And that was only $30.
Wow.
For the whole visit.
Uh-huh.
And I eventually ended up seeing another doctor in Guadalajara who did a blood platelets injection underneath my kneecap, which helped quite a bit. And that was about $50. Awesome.
Sounds incredible.
I'm sorry, it wasn't $50. It was $250.
Okay, $250. That sounds a little better.
For the procedure.
That sounds a little better. Just for the sake of the viewers, what would you say was some of the biggest challenges, or the biggest challenge you faced as becoming an expat and moving down here? Was there anything that stands out in your mind?
Well, since I've lived overseas before, it hasn't been as difficult for me as people who have never lived overseas. The biggest challenge that I face is language. I'm really poor at learning languages. I'm dyslexic, and it's really a hindrance for me. So the language barrier by far is the biggest problem I have. So
has it been really important to know Spanish here?
I think to interact with certain people here, it is. It's not essential, but it's hurt getting to know people better as friends, Mexicans. There are several people here I'm friends with that are Mexicans who speak English. And obviously there's expats here that I hang out with too, so it's not a problem. Usually Canadians.
Well, Canadians are nice.
A lot of Canadians here.
Go Canada.
So, because we live close to the lake, in the rainy season, there's lots of mosquitoes. That's, pain in the ass. So I'm living to deal with that through different methods. So those are really the two things that really bother me. I don't like to hear people complaining either. So that's about it.
Now that you've been around here for a while, what would you say are some of the best things to do here? What kind of things do you like to do, or what do you think that somebody who comes down here really should do? I mean, what really strikes you as great?
I think you should really try to integrate into the environment and get to know people and get to know their customs and understand why they do things. Experiment with different foods. There's a lot of food here that Mexican food dishes that are maybe to some people a little weird to taste, but for me, I dive into that. So I say embrace the food, and if you don't like it, don't eat it again. But it's such a beautiful environment that I'm a photographer, so I've done a lot of photography here. So I think if you're I know a lot of people paint and do artistic things. So there's a lot of that here in Mexico, and it kind of lends itself for that. The environment, the people, and of course the weather here is spectacular. So it's like, what is it now? It's about 77 degrees at 3:45. So you can't get much better than that.
That's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. You mentioned at the beginning of the interview that you're taking pictures of dogs. Tell us a bit about that.
So coming here, I wanted to get involved with charity work or helping people out, and another way to get involved in the community. And I went with a Canadian friend of mine to walk dogs at a big dog rescue ranch outside of Chapala, and found that they were in need of photos of dogs so they could represent them overseas in the Northwest, Seattle, Portland, so forth. They were taking them with their phones, and the rescues really couldn't see how the dog looked with these phone photos. So I'm not really a dog photographer, but I embraced it, and I've been doing it for 6 months. And so far, their dog adoptions have gone up over 100%.
So you've really helped them out then.
They are, when I don't show up, they're very disappointed. So yesterday I just came from shooting 10 puppies that somebody was fostering. And they had a large property in Akahik, and I went there, and you can imagine 10 puppies, 3 months old. Not easy to shoot.
a lot of commotion.
But it's fun, and it's great to see these animals that a lot have been abused and left to die, rescued and given new life. And subsequently, I've met some wonderful people at the dog rescue ranch, both expats and Mexicans, that are just really wonderful, loving people, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to do that.
Sounds like you really integrated yourself into the society, and
I'm starting to
more
and more, and I've also helped some people who live up in the mountains above Akahik, who are less fortunate. They don't have a lot of resources, and they have handicapped children, and we've helped them able to survive. So we've kind of picked and choose some less fortunate people to help that are really in need. So I'm starting to do more and more of that.
Sounds good. Thanks for sitting down with me today, Bruce.
It was absolutely my pleasure.
We'll talk again later.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.